A list of billionaires that started from nothing. 1. The idea of writing this book came to me after my conversation with an individual. He was eager to solve the problem of orphanhood in Ukraine, working with existing boarding schools and creating homes for orphans and children deprived of parental care. Then I asked him why he hasn't done anything in line with his passion. He replied, "I have nothing, no money, no sponsors, or even my apartment." His answer shocked me. Although this young man had listened to a lot of training on how to achieve his goal, yet he was hindered by only one: lack of resources. Thanks to this event, I realized the main reason people are hindered from fulfilling their dreams. How often do you hear such phrases as, "I would really like to do this, but I do not have the money. I would definitely have succeeded in life, but the situation surrounding me wouldn't permit me." All these phrases reflect the general problem of most people in this world and the reason why many cannot start fulfilling their dreams. People are prone to be limited by their resources and available means, as well as the problems and situations in which they live. This general problem keeps people's dreams on the launch pad throughout their lives. All through their life, people have embraced the philosophy that they have to overcome their lack of resources, which in their opinion is the only way to achieving their dream or to even start it. A lot of people on our planet live in constant expectation of more resources or some form of miraculous breakthrough. They expect an initial capital for their own business, higher salaries, a green card to move to the U.S., family inheritance, favorable circumstances, help from relatives, friends, and some, in anticipation of a miracle. But indulging in vain hopes is the most effective way to kill a dream right from its very inception. In fact, the truth is, these factors do not decide our destiny and success. Our indecision to build our life and move forward despite insufficient available resources determines what will happen to us. Look at the lives of great people. Almost all of them started small and many with nothing. Many of them at the beginning of their life journey had difficult life circumstances, but somehow the whole world now honors their legacies and tries to be like them. I always say life is an opportunity. Even if you disagree, the truth remains that everyone in this world who has arms, legs, and brains have the same opportunities. But history has proven that even those who cannot boast of having some parts of the body or resources can also achieve success in life. Take, for instance, the Paralympic Games, international sports competitions for people with disabilities or with limited resources, is a strong proof that the lack of body parts or some resources are not obstacles in achieving our dreams. Successful people are those who take full responsibility for their life once they realize that neither complaints, nor murmurings, nor hope or expectation for someone's help would make them more successful. They understood the main principle of achieving any dream. Dear reader, through this book, I want you to believe that achieving your dreams is not as difficult as it seems. This book will help you to understand this, and will also give steps on your life journey from the point where you have been saying, "I cannot achieve my dreams," to the point where you will see your dreams becoming a reality. My life is an excellent example that your success in life should never be based on what you have or don't have or in how much you possess. When I had a dream that I will be pastoring a megachurch with 99.9% white people, I was the least qualified person to assume that responsibility. I am an African, a man with a dark skin color, who was supposed to preach to white people who were cautious, and even hostile to people like me from Africa. The country Ukraine where I had to open the church was a post-Soviet country where little was said or believed about God. I did not have a theological education. At the time of my departure from my native country Nigeria to Belarus for study, I attended a church for only 6 months. I had no knowledge that would ultimately guarantee my success in this direction. Then I decided to fill this void with self-education. I was left with $20 and paid $15 to get a room in the hostel. I had no money to rent a room to meet with people. Due to lack of finance, I had to spend the night with my friends in the hostel. What more I can say? There couldn't be any greater lack of resources than I experienced. But my results today once again confirms that the lack of resources is not an obstacle to achieving your dream. As at today, after 25 years of the existence of the church, the number of its members is above 20,000 only in Kiev, about 50,000 in Ukraine. It is considered the largest church in Europe. Throughout the world, there are about 100,000 church members in 45 countries. In this book, you'll find other stories of people known to all of us who have risen from the very bottom and have achieved outstanding success. They did not have all the resources that they needed, as we all mistakenly believe, to achieve success in their lives. We will always miss out on the opportunities that life presents if we keep focusing on what we lack. And this is the error of many people. That's why 97% of people remain as biomasses, just a number in the statistics, and only 3% become great and successful personalities. As soon as you understand the golden rule of achieving a dream, nothing will be impossible for you. The main principle of realization of a dream is based on 4 postulates, which we will consider successively in the following chapters. Chapter 1. Why do we need a dream? Why is a dream important? A dream is a cherished desire, and its fulfillment often promises happiness. Many people treat dreams with disdain, considering them as empty fantasies. And they look at the so-called dreamers, who have their heads in the clouds all the time, as people living in illusions, not taking specific actions to actualize their dreams. People tend to confuse the concepts of dreams and illusions. An illusion is a superficial representation in pure fantasy. In practical life, it is facilitating self-deception instead of a critical view and processing of facts. In ordinary terms, the concept of illusion is used as a synonym for hopes and dreams, often unrealistic, that consoles and facilitates the life of self-deception or flight of creative imagination. The elusiveness of dream is determined by its illusory nature and not based on reality, deception, utopianism, and fantasy. In our society, a dream is represented as a departure from reality, and so when the popular question is asked, "What is your dream?" the most likely answer from many is, "What sort of dream? I live in reality." We do not want to be perceived as one whose head is in the clouds. But despite this, each of us at least once a month develops a dream where we see ourselves as successful billionaires, general directors of large companies, successful business people. Someone who opens a flower shop or a service station, while another person sees himself studying at Harvard University, becoming a prime minister, etc. We all at different points in our lives have dreamt of becoming someone great, successful, etc. A dream does have a huge positive impact on a person's life. Without a dream, life is very boring. Without a dream, our life remains in the same position, without moving forward. Here is what psychology says about the differences between dream and illusion. The main feature of a dream is that it is aimed at future activities, that is, a dream is an imagination aimed at the desired future. And it is necessary to distinguish several subtypes of this type of imagination. Most often, a person builds plans for the future and determines the ways to achieve the plan. In this case, the dream is an active, intentional, and the result of a conscious process. But there are people whose dream is an attempt to escape reality. Their dreams remain only mere fantasies. Due to the constant failures they experience in life and their unwillingness to take full responsibility, they resolve to create fantasies in their head to escape from their present reality. Whereas, a dream is always active and acts as an incentive and motivation for one to get into action. Thus, psychology distinguishes positive kinds of dreams from negative dreams, as well as empty or baseless dreams from tangible and practical dreams. Negative dreams and baseless dreams only make a person sit back like a lazy and passive member of society, living in his fantasy. A real practical and positive dream encourages a person to take concrete actions, make plans, and develop strategies. People without a dream only live for now, without knowing what to expect tomorrow. They simply exist and take life as it is. They hope for what life will present to them, and depend on fate to give direction to their life. But this is a mediocre life, one which is aimless, a life of depression and oppression, and a life without a future. Dream about everything that you could achieve in life because this is an important element of positive life. Allow your imagination to wander freely and create a world in which you would like to live, said Albert Einstein, emphasizing a dream as the bridge to the future. Mikhail Mikhailovich Prishvin echoes this thought by saying, "We must dream as much as possible, dream as hard as possible so that the future can be turned into the present." A dream is a whisper from heaven, so a dream cannot be something ordinary like having a car or a house. It is always connected with something valuable and eternal. A dream should not be something abstract, such as to be happy, to be popular, or to be rich. These are mundane wishes and are not enough to be called dreams. Our dreams are the answers to the questions, why am I here? What is the essence of my life? What legacy do I want to live? Where can I be fully fulfilled? It is important that we dream and that through our dreams we can build our future. After all, a dream is meant to inform us that in the future we can become more than who we are now. That's why dreams come. That's why we dream, imagine and get ideas, to know everything that awaits us in the future. Dream how you want your life to end, how you will be remembered, how you will maximize your potential, and how you will accomplish the reason you were born in this world. A dream allows you to see the future. Thanks to it, we focus our strengths, energy, and time on what is connected with our ideas about the future. Our dream keeps us from wasting our time, our abilities in life. That's why it's important to dream about your future, about your destiny, about what you need to do here on Earth. By dreaming, we are building our future, and we are building our tomorrow. Otherwise, when we do not dream but exist just day by day, then we are forced to return to our past. Because the past is our known and familiar terrain. We all are familiar with our past. When we do not have another picture of the future or tomorrow, there is a temptation to go back to where we are familiar with. This is where we know as our comfort zone, the place where we feel comfortable and convenient because everything is familiar and we can repeat what we did before. But if we continue to repeat the past and live as we did before, then there will be nothing new in our lives, and we will not see any new result. If we want to have the best result in our life, we must create the future in our imagination, and then our new aspirations will give us new results. So we have no choice but to dream and think about the future, draw our future in our minds so that we don't return to the past. Dear friends, for your life to progress, you need to have a detailed dream in all areas of your life. You can have a dream for your family. What kind of family would I like to have? What is my ideal picture of my family? What ideal relationship would I have with my spouse and children? What do I want to see my children in 8 years? 12 years, 30 years. Having a dream in different spheres of life is necessary. Then, you will understand why you get up every morning, what to do today and what you will do tomorrow. Alexei Yakovlev, the Russian actor in the early 19th century, spoke of a dream. It is in dreams that new ideas are born. The fulfillment of a dream is the greatest meaning of a person's life. A dream gives us the energy to live a meaningful life. Konstantin Georgievich Paustovsky, a Russian Soviet writer, said, "If you deprive a person of the ability to dream, then one of the most powerful motivating factors that give birth to culture, art, science and the desire to fight for a beautiful future will disappear." It turns out that the progress we see in science, culture and other spheres of human activity wasn't born from nowhere, but from the dreams of individuals who created in their imagination future interplanetary and stellar flights, spaceships, unprecedented technology, new types of energy, magnificent works of art, incomprehensible scientific discoveries, complex microscopic instruments and motion machines, improving the structure of human society, destroying poverty, and inventing medicines for incurable diseases. To give up on a dream is to cross out the progress and development of life on Earth. Thomas Edison had a dream and his dream lit up the whole world. Alexander Graham Bell had a dream, and his dream made communication of people around the world so easily. The Wright brothers also had a dream, and today people can fly all over the world. Colonel Sanders had a dream, and his dream gave people around the world enjoy the delicious specialty of KFC restaurants. Mahathir Mohamad also had a dream, and his dream turned Malaysia's an underdeveloped country into an Asian tiger. Dear reader, I challenge you today to have a dream, and this book will help you to find the money to accomplish your dream. What is the difference between a dream and a goal? Psychology defines a dream as a special kind of imagination. The peculiarity of this image is the picture of the desired future, which though unrealized is believed to happen shortly. The images people receive in their dreams have the following characteristics: bright, lively, concrete with many details, practical ways to realize those dreams, emotionally appealing, a sense of confidence in its possibility, a passionate desire to translate it into reality, creative and clearly expressed features of something new awaiting implementation. These features help to distinguish illusions from dreams, making dreams an important means of awakening the initiative, maintaining human energy in the most difficult conditions of life's struggle, and a powerful incentive to work for a better future. As a person builds in his dream the picture of the future, he begins to imagine his life goals better and more clearly. His dreams help him to define and specify his life goals. In other words, a dream is the image of the goal, and the goal is the breakdown of the dream. One's dream can contain more than one goal. For example, you dream of being financially independent. Financial independence is a general concept. What does it mean exactly for you? How much do you want to earn per month or year? What level of passive income do you need to achieve so that you can consider yourself financially independent? When you answer these and other questions that specify your dream, and you set the time frame to achieve it, then you can assume that your dream is coming into materialization. If you cannot imagine a dream with concrete, measurable parameters, consider it as just a fantasy, or an illusion. Another example, you dream that in your country, there would be no abandoned children on the streets. You need to specify your goals. As to what extent do you want to decrease the level of homelessness? What methods can you use to achieve this? What structures will you work with? Is it necessary to establish a charitable foundation, etc.? Our dreams lift us high into the heavens where we get divine ideas, while our goals bring us down from heaven to earth, making our dream a reality. It is in goal setting, which is the stage of implementation, that will help us determine where to find the money and other resources for the accomplishment of our dream. The advantages of a dream. So, we have considered the question of why we need a dream. Let's move on to the benefits of a dream. A dream is a prototype of the future. A dream is a visual picture of your future. When you have a visual project of the future, then it is easier to believe in its implementation. It's like a movie that shows what will happen to you in the future. Your efforts cease to seem like a daily unbearable burden, instead, they turn into steps to success. A dream gives us strength. Our dream lifts us over our dark days. It gives the energy to go further when we want to stop. It gives us inspiration when we are disappointed. A person with a dream unambiguously accomplishes much more in life than without one, overcoming more obstacles and difficulties, because his dream becomes a source of inspiration and energy, prompting him to act constantly. A dream does not allow time wastage. The absence of a dream leads to the squandering of life. If you do not know why you are living today, you will waste your energy and time on irrelevant things, in other words, on frivolities. One morning you will rise and realize that you are already 30, 40, or 50 years old, and your life has gone down the drain. When there is a dream, you can distinguish useful things from empty ones. You find the courage to say no to useless conversations, offers, and all sorts of activities that steal time and energy from you. Everyone without exception has talents, and only with a properly organized life schedule would these talents be tapped into maximally. Otherwise, we will waste our resources on meaningless activities. When there are no great dreams, we hold our gaze and spend our energies on small non-essential goals. Our dream helps us to be focused and specific in life. It organizes our life. With a dream, life becomes definite. You know what you want, and so you live and work in a more focused manner. You are less distracted by someone else's mission or goals or another person's understanding of life. You do your thing, and it does not matter who is with you or who is against you. You do not care what your neighbor does, what fashion is trending in your higher education institutions, or what the society is chasing after. Instead, you are so focused on your dream. Dreams help not to focus on difficulties. Life is a series of difficulties and obstacles. A person with a dream does not focus on difficulties, although there are many of them. After all, he knows what he lives for and the purpose of difficulties and challenges. Such a person is focused on the future, on the goal and on the opportunities that will open in the future. But it is so difficult to overcome obstacles when there is no dream. It's much easier to stop than to continue moving forward. Dear friends, I believe that you have become convinced that dreaming is necessary and important. Thanks to a dream, life becomes interesting. Many of you might say, but what's the use of dreaming if I have no money, no resource, and no opportunity to make my dream come true? Believe me, this is just an excuse. The truth is that there is a system that you need to follow step by step, and you will see how easy it is to find money for your dreams and build a system to finance your calling. You will find these steps in this book. It is very easy to achieve any dream by following them. You'll be convinced of this as you read on. In the following chapters, we will consider the 4 postulates on which the main principle of the accomplishment of a dream actualization is built. These postulates reveal the most common misconceptions of humanity about the achievement of dreams, and these are wrong mindsets, or, in other words, limitations in the mind that hold us firmly at the level of dreams that do not turn into action. 1. A dream is a cherished desire, and its fulfillment often promises happiness. 2. A dream is an imagination aimed at the desired future. 3. Negative dreams and baseless dreams only make a person sit back like a lazy and passive member of society, living in his fantasy. 4. A real dream encourages a person to take concrete actions, makes plans and develop strategies. 5. Progress in science, culture and other spheres of human activity is born from the dreams of individual people who create in their imagination the future. 6. Dream gives us strength. 7. A dream does not allow wasting of time. 8. Our dream helps us to be focused and specific in life. It organizes our life. 9. Dream helps not to focus on difficulties. Self-assessment tests. The following test will help you determine your understanding of dreams and point out some mistakes in your understanding. When answering a question, choose only one answer that best describes you. Let your answer be as sincere as possible. 1. Do you think that a dream is an important element of human life? 1. No. A dream is just a fantasy. One must live in reality. 1. 2. A dream helps one to get away from reality if a person is weak on the inside and cannot resist difficulties. 1. 3. Sometimes I dream, but I never take my dreams seriously. 1. 4. A dream is important, as it makes it possible to model the future to which I aspire. 3. 2. What is the difference between a dream and an illusion? 1. They are the same. 1. 2. Dreams can come true, but illusions never come true. 2. 3. Illusion is a baseless dream, and a dream is a critical view of facts. 3. 3. What is the difference between a dream and a goal? 1. A dream is an image, a picture, and the goal is the specifics of this picture. 3. 2. A dream and goals are in no way connected. 1. 3. Without a dream, you can live, but without a goal, you cannot live. 2. 4. I don't know. I have no dreams nor goals. 1. Results of the test. 9 points. You understand the importance of dreams in life, so you dream to see the future that you need to strive for. You critically look at the world. Therefore you can easily distinguish illusion and empty hopes from a dream. You can transform a dream into specific goals and plans. 4 to 8 points. You have dreams, but you treat them too scornfully, considering that they are inaccessible to you. Believe me, dreams come true, and you can begin to translate them into concrete actions. 3 points. You do not understand why you need dreams. You live an ordinary life, not looking into the distant future and being satisfied with the ordinary. This book will help you understand the benefits of a dream and will lead you to have dreams in all areas of your life. Practical tasks. 1. Formulate your dream. 2. What are the differences between dreams and illusions? 3. What is the relationship between a dream and a goal? 4. Name the benefits of a dream. 5. Specify your dreams with the formulation of goals. Chapter 2. Never base your dream on what you have or don't have. To accomplish a dream, don't depend on what you have. The following story confirms the fact that our dreams often seem to us as impossible and unachievable. But this is only the beginning. After a while, you'll be able to convert your dream to an inevitable event in your life. You should never base your dreams on what you have or do not have. A true life story. He was their long-awaited firstborn. The father was present in the delivery room. He saw the shoulder of a baby. What is this? He has no hand. Boris Vaichich realized that he must immediately leave the room so that his wife would not have to notice how he changed his facial expression. He could not believe what he saw. When the doctor came to him, he began asking, "My son, does he have a hand?" The doctor replied, "No. Your son has neither hands nor feet." The doctors refused to show the mother her baby. The nurses were crying. Nicholas Vaichich was born in Melbourne, Australia into the family of Serbian immigrants. His pregnancy was normal, with no genetic history of disease or deformity. At first, the mother could not get herself together to take her son in her arms. She could not breastfeed him. Dushka Vaichich did not know how to take the child home, what to do with him, nor how to take care of him. She did not know who to contact with the questions. Even the doctors were not helpful. Only 4 months later, she began to recover. Nick has an underdeveloped left foot. Thanks to this, the boy learned to walk, swim, skate, play on the computer and write. His parents made sure that their son was taken to a regular school. Nick became the first disabled child in a conventional Australian school. Teachers surrounded him with attention. On the other hand, Nick often heard from his peers, "Nick, go away. Nick, you cannot do anything. We do not want to be friends with you, and you're a nobody." Every evening Nick prayed to God and asked him, "God, please give me arms and legs." His parents bought him electronic hands. But they were too heavy, and Nick could not just use them. No one could explain to him why he was so, and no one could help him. At 8, Nicholas decided to drown himself in the tub. He wanted to ask his mom to take him there, but he could not. He thought about his parents, whom he loved very much and who loved him very much. He thought that his parents would never forgive themselves for his death. They will always believe that they were to blame for the fact that Nick decided to commit suicide. He could not allow this to happen to his beloved parents. Nick never tried again to kill himself, rather he often thought about his destiny in this world. One day his mother read to him an article about a seriously ill person who inspired other people to live. This story deeply touched the soul of Nick. This was the first step in realizing his destiny. Over time, Nick learned to adapt more and more to his situation. In the 7th grade, Nick was chosen as the senior school prefect. He worked with the student council on issues related to charity and helping disabled people. After graduation, Nick Vaichich continued his studies and received 2 university degrees, one in accounting, the second in the field of financial planning. When Nick was 19 years old, he was offered to speak before university students. His speech was supposed to take 7 minutes. After 3 minutes of speech, half the audience were crying. One girl went to Nick on the stage and, embracing him, cried on his shoulder with the words, "No one has ever told me I am loved. No one has ever told me that I am beautiful as I am. My life has changed today." After that, Nick finally realized that he had found the meaning of his life, and he is to help other people gain faith in themselves, the joy of life, hope and inspiration. In 2005, Nick received a very prestigious award in Australia, Young Australian of the Year. To date, Nick Vaichich little more than 30. And this guy without hands and feet has successfully achieved and is achieving more than a huge number of absolutely healthy people would achieve all their life. Nick is the president of a charity organization, and he has his own motivational company, Attitude as Altitude. For 10 years of his performances, Nick managed to travel the whole world. 10 months a year he is traveling, with 2 months at home. He has traveled more than 24 countries, having spoken to more than 3 million people, in schools, nursing homes, prisons. Sometimes, Nick speaks at the stadiums with several thousands of people gathered to be inspired by his story and life. He speaks about 250 times a year. In a week, Nick receives about 300 proposals for new performances. He became a professional speaker. Nick cannot shake hands with anyone, he embraces people. And he even set a world record, the guy without arms who embraced 1749 people per hour. He wrote a book about his life, typing 43 words per minute on the computer. To relax in between the working trips, he plays golf and surfs. On February 12, 2012, Nick Vujicic married a very beautiful girl, Kanae Miyahara. The wedding took place in California, and the couple spent their honeymoon in Hawaii. February 14, 2013, Nick and Kanae had a son, who was named Kiyoshi James Vujicic, and today he has 4 beautiful kids in total. If the accomplishment of dreams were based on what we have or do not have, then Nick Vujicic had no opportunity to become famous but to be a normal boy, a man. Superficially speaking, Nick appeared to be helpless and pitiable, especially when he tried to do what others did without even thinking. I will quote the words from his book, Life Without Borders. Note the title of the book, it says a lot. Today I travel a lot around the world and see great suffering. And I'm grateful that I had everything just this way, and not otherwise. I do not focus on what I lack. This is said by a man who has neither hands nor feet. What resources did he have to realize his dreams? 0. And what resources do you have? I want to repeat that all people in this world who have arms, legs, and brains have the same opportunities. Which means that we all have the same resources to fulfill our dreams. After all, if Nick with his limitations of not having hands or feet could achieve great success, then what is our excuse? Let's look at the meaning of the word resource. A resource is a quantitative measure of the possibility of performing an activity. It could also mean the conditions that allow obtaining the desired results when needed. A resource is anything you can use or spend. It is a supply or source of something. It also means the ability to do something. Everything that you can use to achieve a dream is a resource. Opportunities are also resources. To learn how to notice and maximize opportunities around you, you can read more about that in my book, Life is an Opportunity. What are you personally lacking to start moving towards a dream? Initial capital, apartment, talent, abilities, knowledge, support from relatives or friends? When the lack of resources come between us and our dreams, our usual reaction is to turn around and give up. Dear friend, if you want to become successful or do something great, you should never worry about your resources or the most common resource and most sought after, which is money. To find money for your dream is not a problem, and you will see this as you read through this book. Let this be your life principle, never to worry about what you have or do not have. The availability of money or other resources at your disposal does not determine your success. Of course, it is extremely important to know or understand your resources, who you are, what talents or abilities you have, what capital you have accumulated, property, work experience, etc. You can also include your positive traits, temperament, worldview, the ability to build relationships with people, negotiating skills, etc. Everything that brings a positive effect in your life can be considered a resource for achieving your goals and dreams. All these are important and will help you on your way to your dream. But you should never be limited to your resources or base your dream on what you have or do not have. It's a mistake. Remember, a real dream will always be greater than you. It will always be beyond your capabilities, resources, and circumstances in which you are right now. That's why it's a dream. Find answers to all complex situations first in your mind. Even if you have no money in your account now, you can fulfill any dream. Any dream and idea will become possible if you understand that it is not physical resources that solve problems. We solve all the problems in complex situations first in our minds. Resources don't solve problems first, all problems are solved in our mind first. Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory writes in his book, Understanding Your Potential, for 2 years now, my little son, when something does not work for him, he comes up to me and says, I cannot do this. I reply to him saying, the word cannot does not exist. When he comes back and says again, I don't know how to do it, I answer, there is always some way. If you start thinking this way, nothing will be impossible for you in this world. Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter wrote about the same thing in the book The Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, during our discussions about poverty. The rich dad took out a coin and said, when a person says, I cannot afford it, he sees only one side of the coin. As soon as you say, how would I afford it, you begin to see the opposite side. If the phrase is, it's impossible, I cannot do it, I cannot achieve this, tries to destroy your dream, then you must try to look at the problem from the other side and say to yourself, how can I do this? Where can I find it? Where can I find money to accomplish my dream? There is always a way. Open your mind and think, look, ask, find out which way exists. As the French statesman Charles-Alexandre Callinan said, if anything is possible, it has already been done. If it is not possible, it will be done. A true life story. When Monty was 16 years old, he was asked to write an essay about what he wants when he grows up. Monty was distressed for a long time and spent many hours describing his dream. He wanted to become a ranch owner someday. He wrote 7 pages, describing in every detail a 200-acre ranch, and drew a plan for the location of all the buildings, stables and roads. He even drew a very detailed plan of the house, which he will build with an area of 4,000 square feet. The next day, Monty gave his essay to the teacher. 2 days later, his teacher returned the composition, putting a big red bad mark telling him to stay back after the lesson. After the lesson, the boy with a dream came to the teacher and asked why he received a bad mark for his composition. The teacher replied, because such a dream is unrealizable for a boy like you. You need a lot of money to buy such a ranch. And how much money do you have? None. You're from a very poor family. There is no way for you to realize your dream. It is not feasible. That's what I'll tell you. Go home and write another essay in which you can describe another, more realistic dream, and I'll put you another mark. The boy returned home and asked for advice from his father. And this was what he heard from his father, son, I'm afraid I'm not helping you. I think it should be just your decision, and I have a feeling that this will be a really important decision for you. Monty pondered on his father's words for a week. Finally, he returned to the teacher with the same work and said, you can keep the bad mark to yourself, while I'll keep my dream to myself. Time passed, Monty graduated from high school, and became an adult. He told the story, turning to a group of people who listened to him, saying, I tell you this story because you are all sitting in my 4-square-foot house, in the middle of my ranch of 200 acres. Monty continued, the most surprising part of my story is that 2 years ago, in the summer, the same teacher brought here 30 school children, and they camped for a week on my ranch. Before leaving, the teacher told me, listen, Monty, now I can tell you this. When I was your teacher, I acted like a dream destroyer. I am now very sorry that then I destroyed a lot of children's dreams. But I'm very glad that you found the courage to defend your dream. Look, in this story, we see 2 examples of people, positive and negative. The teacher is a negative example of a person who is used to looking at his or her available resources and drawing conclusions about the reality of his dreams. And little Monty, despite the teacher's opinion, refused to look at what he lacked. His example once again proves the principle, one should never base his dreams on what he has or doesn't have. The example of creation. Although there are different theories about the creation of the world, I hold the opinion that our world was created by God, the creator of everything. The process of creating the universe is described in the Holy Scriptures. When you learn how God created everything around you, you will realize that the same laws work for people if they want to achieve something that does not yet exist, that is, to realize their dream and ideas. The ability to dream is to see with the eyes of the mind the desired result. It is the ability to create and produce something from nothing, which is what we have similar to our Creator. The Holy Scripture narrates, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. In the beginning, there was nothing, except for the idea to create a living world and fill it with living beings. From this nothing, the Creator created the earth, the stars, and the sun. The word created means bringing things from the unseen world into the visible realm. What was once intangible appeared in the material world. The invisible became visible. This is the ability to convert an invisible dream to physical reality. This is the law of creation, without which nothing that appeared in this world would have appeared. At first, everything was a dream, an idea, and then it was embodied in a material substance. If you pay attention to what you lack, you will never start. And you need to start, because until then you will see that not everything is as bad as it seemed before. God began to create heaven and earth from nothing, although he had something, a thought, a picture, an image. It all started with an idea, and if you still have an idea, believe that your dream is valid. The next stage is mental work, how to find the necessary resources or multiply the little that you have. In his book, Raise Your Financial IQ, Robert Kiyosaki stresses that the problem of lack of money cannot be solved with money. Money comes in the process of solving this problem, and not because you were searching for money itself, but because of your intellectual development in this direction. Any financial drawback is an opportunity to raise your level of knowledge about finances. The same applies to other shortcomings in life. If you see a lack of something, sit down and start solving the problem in your head. Start looking for information. You must find solutions to the problem. Increasing your IQ in this direction, you will approach the solution to your problem. You can find money and other resources for your dream. Everything starts small. Everything starts small. Cicero. This is an important principle. This understanding will save you from unnecessary feelings and worries. Nothing great starts great. Nothing is born great. Everything is born small and develops into something big. So also was the universe was created. This is the most important principle in life. Everything starts small. Man is born a small baby. Birds, fish, animals are also born small. Lion, the king of the beasts, was born a small cub, and a whale was also not born the size of an adult whale. We see a huge elephant and admire its size and strength, but the fact is that it was also once a small elephant. The same goes for success. Huge corporations, business structures, enterprises, multi-million-dollar turnover, successful political or creative career, everything started small. We must understand this principle. If not, after seeing something great, we will be mistaken thinking that it has always been great. There's absolutely nothing like that. Rome was not built in a day. No one can build his Rome in one day. Everything that you have will be small at first. Everything starts small. You will surely become great if you learn not to neglect a small beginning. You heard the expression, free cheese is always available in a mousetrap. This is just about that. A person who expects everything at once would inevitably end up in error or a trap. You can expect a miracle or a stroke of big luck to fall on your head all of a sudden, huge inheritance, lottery winnings, dizzying career, and multi-million business deals. This happens very rarely, and even if it does, it will only bring disappointment and destruction because it will crush you. It's a disaster when a big thing comes into your life unexpectedly, especially when you did not work for it. You can find a lot of examples of people who won a big lottery which made them feel like the lucky ones, actually became the greatest tragedy of their entire life. Without preparing for such a great amount of money, they lost everything and even their lives. Here are some of them. Jack Whittaker, West Virginia, $315 million. On December 25, 2002, Jack Whittaker won the International Powerball lottery. He was convinced that there was a divine dispensation here. Also, it happened on Christmas Day. But soon after receiving $114 million, Whittaker was arrested for drunk driving. A few months later, thieves got into his car and stole $545,000, which this 55-year-old man preferred to carry with him in a portfolio. A year after the win, Whittaker was arrested for threatening the life of the manager of a bar. Jeanette Lee, Missouri, $18 million. Sometimes even the best intentions can lead to terrible consequences, as in the case of Jeanette Lee, the winner of the lottery, who won $18 million in the Missouri lottery in 1993. An immigrant from South Korea began actively investing in various educational programs, public and political organizations. She even dined with Bill Clinton, Al Gore and South Korean President Kim Dae-jung. But 8 years after winning, the money ran out, and Lee left with $700 in the account, was forced to declare herself bankrupt. William Bad Post, Pennsylvania, $16.2 million. The fate of the winner in the lottery, William Bad Post, as a plot from a Hollywood movie. His mother died when he was 8 years old, and his father sent him to the orphanage immediately after the funeral. For most of his life, Post was a fisherman, until he bought a Pennsylvania lottery ticket on that fateful day in 1988 and won $16.2 million. However, within a few months, Post was devastated, spending a lot of money on houses, cars, yachts, questionable deals and a twin-engine plane, although he did not have a pilot's license. Post died of apnea in 2006, no longer having a penny for his soul. "I was much happier without money," he once admitted. Evelyn Adams, New Jersey, $5.4 million. Everyone knows that winning a lottery is almost impossible. But Evelyn Adams won twice. For 1985 and 1986, she won a total of $5.4 million. 20 years later, Adams went bankrupt and lived in a trailer as a result of extravagant living and gambling. "Everyone wanted my money. All stood with an outstretched hand. I never learned how to say a simple word, no. If I had a second chance, I would be smarter," Adams once said. This is the unenviable fate for those who won a large sum of money in the lottery. Money fell from heaven to the hand of those who did not work for them and could not handle them. Their victory turned into a tragedy. Dear reader, please understand, all great people once started small. Greatness, above all, is the result of working diligently on the small things. Hard work transforms small things into big things. All that you would have will grow out of that little thing that you possess now. Steve Siebold, a popular American business coach, in the book, How Rich People Think, stresses that the average inhabitant of our Earth has the lottery mentality. Many hope for success without effort, pray for luck, expect a miracle or unreal inheritance. And they lose in this. They do not understand the principle, everything great and successful begins with something small. Thus they neglect the small things, believing that it cannot become the basis on which something great will grow. Buddha, a spiritual master, the legendary founder of Buddhism, wrote, "Starting small is normal. A jug is filled gradually, drop by drop. Every master was once an amateur. We all start small, do not neglect little beginning. If you are consistent and patient, you will succeed. No one can succeed in just one night. Success comes to those who are willing to start small and work hard until their jug is filled." Your reaction to the little you have is key. So, if everything starts small, then we must learn to assess the little things that we have adequately. Our response to small things should be positive. Start noticing the little things around you that fills your life. Maybe for someone, it will be insignificant, but for you it is important. One person can look at what is small and see the potential for more, while the other one will only see trash. Theodore Roosevelt, an American politician, 25th U.S. Vice President, 26th U.S. President, confirms. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. Which means, with the little you have, always appreciate it and start cultivating it. Rich people notice small things and painstakingly work on it, cultivating into something big. A poor man does not notice the small things, thereby neglecting the great future that awaits him tomorrow. He misses the opportunity and will never succeed. He will remain at the same level or even come to greater damage. This person will not be able to find money for his dream. Start to look at everything around you differently. Look around and notice the little things. Reconsider your definition of small. Look at the small things as the beginning. Every time you see something insignificant, think that this is the beginning, the start of something big, the seed of a great future. You should always see a great, magnificent, and original future in every small thing. When a baby is born, we see the future as an adult man. Behind what is small is a huge sequel. Learn to appreciate the small things. So, the problem is not how much you have, but how you look at the small thing that you have at the moment. What is your reaction? If you do not learn to work with small things, life will never give you anything big. In conclusion, I want to remind you that your dream is valid and can be accomplished. If you could see something in your mind, then it was already born in heaven. No matter how rich you are, you will always lack something, so you cannot afford to base your dream on what you have or what you don't have. The most important thing is to start solving problems and complex situations from within you, in your mind. All the rest is a routine, a process that I will get you acquainted with in the following chapters. 1. You cannot afford to base your dream on what you have or what you don't have. 2. If you want to become successful or do something great, you are not allowed to think about the lack of resources and the means to realize a dream. 3. A true dream will always be greater than you. It will always be beyond your capabilities, resources, and circumstances in which you are now. 4. Even the earth and the sky were created from nothing. 5. The most important principle in life is everything is born small and develops into something big. 6. If everything begins small, then we must learn to appreciate adequately the little things that we have. Self-assessment tests. The following test will help you determine how dependent you are on the availability of certain resources on your way to achieving your dreams. When answering a question, choose only one answer that best describes you. Answer as sincerely as possible. 1. Imagine a man whose dream is to create a 7-star restaurant network throughout the country. He has no initial capital, he never studied to be a chef. He is an ordinary citizen of your country. Do you think he has a chance to achieve his dream? 1. To achieve his dream, he must have at least a minimum prerequisites: money, knowledge, education. 2. No, he can't. As an ordinary citizen, he is already disadvantaged. 3. Yes. If he works hard. 2. You have a dream of becoming a millionaire. You just started learning the laws of money. Is this enough to accomplish your dream? 1. Not. It is not enough. 2. If I put enough work, it will lead me to achieve my dream. 3. Results of the test. 6 points. You know that small things can become greater through hard work. You successfully apply this rule in your life. 3 to 5 points. You often doubt your success because, in your opinion, life has been unfair to you. You think that to achieve a dream you need certain material resources, so you often don't give a chance to your dreams and that of others. 2 points. You are extremely pessimistic about life. To achieve success, in your opinion, it is necessary to be on the good book of destiny. There are no other options. Practical tasks. 1. Explain why you cannot start from the available resources, however limited they may seem to you. 2. If everything starts small, then how should we treat the small things that we have? 3. A real dream will always be greater than you. Prove this statement. Chapter 3. You'll never have all that you need to accomplish your dream. Money will always be limited resource. Dear reader, in this chapter I want to emphasize that you will never have all that you need to accomplish your dream. There will always be some shortage in your resources in your journey to implementing your plans and dreams. It doesn't matter how wealthy or poor you are, you will always lack something. This is why you should never be limited to what you have or do not have. Never depend on what you have, and don't focus on what you lack. No matter how much you have, it's still not enough to make your dream come true. This is just how life is configured. Earlier I said that a real dream will always be greater than you. This means that your logic will suggest this is impossible. I have nothing to accomplish this. But the essence of a dream is that you look through the eyes of faith into the future to something that does not yet exist. And if you have everything you need, then you do not need a dream. Take it and do it. To accomplish a dream, you cannot depend on material resources. Everything starts from nothing. Remember the principle of creating the world. If you have everything, then you don't need faith to accomplish your big dream. Where would be your efforts, movement, struggle, and overcoming obstacles? Therefore, understand that you will surely lack something, but this is not a tragedy, it is the principle of beginning everything in our world. For example, money is a resource that definitely will never be enough for you, no matter where you are in your dream. Stephen Scott, one of the founders of the American Telecast Corporation, writes in his book Simple Steps to Impossible Dreams, Bill Gates is the richest American. But the Microsoft company he owns is still borrowing money from banks for its projects. Steven Spielberg has millions in his bank accounts while he is still looking for finance on the side for his new films. Money will always be a limited resource. The same goes for talent and ability. Oprah Winfrey has an incredible talent. Whether she is in front of a huge audience or in front of the camera on the set of the film. At the same time, she is the first to admit that there is a huge amount of talent that she watches from her television guests, which she personally does not possess. Bill Gates is undoubtedly talented. But a recent article in Forbes magazine says that Microsoft would be just a small part of what it is today if it were not for the talents and abilities of Bill Gates' partners. Stephen Scott himself says that he has only 4 significant talents. He can quickly print text, effectively and convincingly communicate with people. He has the art of behaving right in front of the camera and sell his product and idea. And that's all. Are his talents limited? Of course. After all, he does not know how to play musical instruments, understand accounting reports or technical descriptions. He is not very versed in computers and computer programs. Stephen Scott has only 4 significant talents and lacks others. But with these 4 talents he produced $1 million in sales and a lot of companies involved in both insurance and cosmetics. We all have a lack of some abilities, but this should not keep us from achieving our dream. Don't hope to have all necessary resources for your dream from the very beginning. We cannot expect that we will have all the necessary resources for our dream right from the beginning. This needs to be understood. This will never happen, it is a principle. Do not be discouraged, do not wait for a miracle. All that you wish to carry out will always be greater than you, which means that you will never have all the necessary resources. What we do not have is not the reason for our failures. Everyone has one shortage or the other. We all are in some way lacking. But many people become successful and great in this world despite their lack. Also, we all have enough opportunities around us. You have enough talent, just use them. As soon as we begin to notice what we have, we will understand that there is no excuse for failure. Successful people paid attention to the opportunities and talents that they had. And life gives us enough chances and opportunities. The reason behind our failures and challenges in life is not about the number of talents and money, for they do not determine our success. The main thing is how well we use what we have. Our attitude to those things that we lack is where the real problem lies. The boundaries we have created in our mind. Do I lack money? Then I will look for where to make money. If one door is closed, I will find another open door. If we have a positive attitude and perspective at our shortcomings, we will correctly respond and act. Not having all the necessary resources is not enough reason to be a loser or to be unhappy. Neither should the absence of family support, money, apartment, etc. hinder your progress. Look at all these situations differently. There are 2 sides to the coin. Always look at the positive side. A positive attitude and a positive outlook on things will help you find resources, including the money for your dreams. Always take actions. You can start with any resource. With any of your available resources, you can achieve success. Never will it happen that someone is devoid in all aspects. Even if it seems to you that you are zero in everything, if you will only take some time to search within you, you will soon discover that you have something that you can begin with. It can be your passion, your willpower, your eyes, mouth, mind, etc. These are all resources. Therefore, forget about those fantasies and make your dreams come alive. What can you do to make your dreams come true? Now we've come to the next important principle: everything in this life needs action. Refuse to remain idle, always take action. It is necessary to work, search, and question everything. Focus on what you have, your work, hobby, talent, etc. If you have nothing in the present, if you don't take certain actions, nothing new will appear tomorrow. What you use today will develop tomorrow. And to the extent of your faithfulness to what you do today, to the same extent will the result you get tomorrow. A real-life story. Vera sat at a table in the kitchen, discussing with her husband about their financial prospects. Both of them earned not much money. The lion's share of their earnings went to apartment rent, which they've lived in for 8 years. Of course, they were not poor but wanted some stability. And they saw stability only in personal business. The husband of the Vera, Sergei, said long ago that if they had a car, he could earn quite well on passenger transportation, and at worst, work as a taxi driver. Sergei's friend had a holiday agency, and he needed a driver to transport people. And Sergei conducted a marketing study, and found out the average price for used minibuses. Before them was an age-old question: where to get the money? Vera and Sergei saved a small amount, but this, of course, was not enough. The loan was beyond their power because of the brutal interest that the banks demanded. And if they decided to borrow, from who? None of their friends could lend the full required amount. Vera and Sergei were decent people, they always paid back their debts, so their friends could agree to lend a small amount of money. Vera started a money-raising campaign on the same day. She called up friends, acquaintances, colleagues at work. The main question was, how much money can you lend? And for what period? Of course, it was strange to hear the last question, because it is asked exactly by the one who lends. Vera briefly said that she and her husband are going to open a business and gather the remaining amount of money. After that, the friends said the amount and the period on which they can lend it. A week later, Vera and Sergei got the required amount. Sergei managed to find a fairly used car on the internet in very good condition. And the purchase was made. Sergei began to serve the holidays, the blessing that the warm season had just begun, the season of weddings. Vera advertised in the newspaper about passenger transportation, and orders began to rush in. 6 months later, Vera and Sergei paid off their debts and even started to save money to buy an apartment. That's such a happy story when the money needed to accomplish their idea was found. All they had to do was first to work with their mind, and then with their hands. Vera and Sergei had little money, which was not enough. But they began to act and were able to multiply what they had. So, there is no excuse for us saying that we have very little to begin with. In the following chapters, you will read the stories of people who also had nothing even to begin the path to a dream. Nevertheless, they became what they dreamed of. They were not idle, but they used the little that they had, looking to the future with faith. 1. You will always lack something. 2. Never be limited to what you have. No matter whatever you have, it's still not enough to make your dream come true. 3. Our reaction to those things that we lack is where the real problem lies. 4. With any resource, you can achieve success. Self-assessment test. 1. If you have a dream to start a business, and you have only a small portion of the required amount of money to start, what will you do? 1. Wait until I get the complete amount. 1. 2. I will actively start searching for the required money to achieve my dreams. 3. I'll switch to another idea because with my limited capital, it will not work anyway. 1. 2. Is it possible to start from scratch if you have only your idea? 1. I must have something financial, etc. Otherwise it will not work. 1. 2. There is a probability if my relatives or friends help me. 2. 3. Yes, everything else will come in the process of work. 3. Results of the test. 6 points. You are a person who knows that if you do not have the resources, then they are with others, they only need to be found. You are not used to hoping that everything you need will fall on your laps. Therefore, your dreams will come true. 3 to 5 points. You understand that success can be achieved with minimum resources, but you are still accustomed to relying on the help of others, thinking that you are not enough to achieve a dream. 2 points. We are sorry, but you live in error. You mistakenly believe that the realization of ideas requires all necessary resources at the beginning. If they are not in your hands, then you easily give up on your dream. But this is not right. Keep reading, you'll find help. Practical tasks. 1. Explain the statement, what matters most is not that you have something small, but your reaction and attitude to it. 2. How can you turn a small resource into something bigger? Chapter 4. If you have a vision, that is the sign that your dream can be accomplished. Everything that exists in the world was once a dream. Carl Sandburg. And this is the truth. Right now, look around you. What do you see? Every object, everything was once an idea in someone's mind. The suit you put on today, the pen you write with, the chair, the desk, the computer, the cars, the house you live. They were once somebody's dream idea, but today it has become a tangible reality. If you have a dream, an idea, believe me, the money for its accomplishment is already 100% in existence. So, there are 3 characteristics inherent in any dream. 1. Every vision and idea has the potential for accomplishment. 2. Every dream, vision, and idea from heaven will surely be accomplished, either through you or through others. 3. To make your dreams come true, you need to know certain steps to take and work hard. All visions and ideas have the potential for accomplishment. Dear reader, everything that you use at the moment, what your hand can touch, was once not in existence. The chair, paper, car, airplane, factories, business utensils, without which now is unimaginable to live without, never existed until somebody suddenly got the idea to make a device you can sit on which would not be located directly on the floor, or to come up with a something who could beat the force of gravity and transport people from one continent to another within few hours, or a device that will be able to store information for a long time. All these inventions first appeared in the form of a dream, an idea, an invisible reality. Hence it is possible to draw a logical conclusion that our dreams, although initially invisible, can be embodied and become a reality in the future which can be seen and felt tangible. The fact that a dream or idea is an invisible reality does not mean that it cannot be accomplished, that is, to have a material invisible substance. On the contrary, if an idea or vision comes to your mind, consider that as a sign that your dream can be accomplished and the money for its implementation is already available. Visions, dreams, ideas are heaven's whispers to a man. A dream, an idea, a vision are heaven's whispers to us which we must achieve on earth. If you got a vision or an idea or dream from heaven, be rest assured that it is feasible, because by itself these ideas already have the potential to be accomplished. If an idea or thought could come into your mind, then it can be accomplished. In other words, if the dream, idea, thought had no future here on earth, then they would not have come to your mind. Heaven does not scatter its treasures to the left and the right anyhow. The image of the future in the form of a dream or idea is sent down from above only when this dream can be accomplished with 100% guarantee. Remember about what you reflected on today. These were not random thoughts or ideas. You can implement them. Heaven knows everything from beginning to end. Sending away a dream or a desire to achieve something on earth, as a prototype of the final result, is a sign that it already exists. But so far it is invisible on earth. Everything we see today was at a certain time invisible. They were once just an idea: shops, buildings, furniture, culinary masterpieces, clothes, cars, and all sorts of business. They were invisible but yet existed, because we cannot see what lies in the mind of man. Megastores and everything that lies on the shelves once began with an idea in someone's mind. Before that, there was nothing like that in the world. But at the same time, all these existed, although not in the form which we see today. Items like iPad, notepads, roller skates, microphone, and projector all existed first in the mind before we see them tangible now. Invisible ideas give birth to all the things around us. Of course, when I say that we can create visible realities from the invisible realm, it means that there are already resources that we must find to make this happen. But we'll talk about this in another chapter. So, we are like God, the Creator, creating the visible from an invisible dream or idea. Everyone has this ability. If you have a vision, that is a sign that your dream can be accomplished. Every dream, vision, and idea from heaven will always be accomplished one way or the other, either through you or through others. Next, I want to dwell on the fact that no dream or idea comes to only one person. If you consider something your idea, I can assure you that somewhere else there is a person, and even a few, who also reflect on that very same idea. There is some evidence to this fact, which we will talk about later, involving different scientists in different parts of the world who worked on the same invention. Real-life story. Sharon sat on the couch, thinking once again about her dream, to open a small cozy cafe where children could gather, drink healthy and tasty milk and cocktails, with delicious cakes. Parents could drink coffee or tea, also having a snack of different varieties. People could also buy natural fresh juices or cocktails. Sharon was sure that her cafe would have gained instant popularity if it was located somewhere on the territory of a new residential complex in which there was not a well-developed network of shops and cafes. She imagined that the customers of her cafe, together with her children, every day having a glass of a favorite drink or a tasty ice cream. The success of the cafe was predictable. Sharon once again looked for information on the internet, hoping to find answers to the questions what, where, when. A rather clear plan was formed in her head. She found a place for a cafe, the nearest residential complex, newly built. There were always a lot of children with moms walking around, and, fortunately, no other cafes were opened there yet. Based on the information from the internet, Sharon estimated what she would do to rent a room, purchase furniture and equipment, and hire a seller. After receiving the final amount, Sharon began thinking, where can I get that much money? Although she had personal savings, they could not cover all the expenses. Even if I borrow money from parents, relatives, and friends, I still would not have enough, thought Sharon. Well, it's still an impossible dream, Sharon continued, talking to herself. After all, I have no experience with this kind of service. More so, to give tax reports, I also need an experienced accountant. Sharon became more and more convinced that her dream was unrealizable. A couple of months later, on the same housing estate appeared a cafe, exactly the kind that Sharon created in her dreams. Learning that the cafe was opened by her neighbor, who lived on the floor below her, she was very surprised. He did not earn much, he did not have the experience of opening such a business, that is, he had the same chances for success as Sharon, or even less. Whenever Sharon passed by this cafe and even went to drink fresh juice, she wondered, how did this happen? But this was my idea. There are a lot of similar stories. We probably have similar experiences in our lives. Remember those times when you were going to do something, and after a while, you found out that someone else had already started doing it, which surprised and discouraged you? This is not telepathy or mind reading. This is not a question of destiny or fate. Someone got an idea and worked on it while you did not work on yours. There is a very reasonable explanation for all this. In the scientific world, there is the hypothesis of multiple discoveries. It explains how most scientific research and inventions are done independently and more or less simultaneously by several scientists and inventors. Whenever a list of Nobel laureates is annually announced, especially in the fields of physics, chemistry, physiology and medicine, economics, 2 or 3, the largest possible number, who independently made the same discovery, are increasingly being replaced by single laureates. Historians and sociologists note the prevalence in the science of multiple independent discoveries. Robert Merton, one of the most famous American sociologists of the 20th century, defines such multiples as the case in which the discovery was made by each independently working scientist. Sometimes discoveries occur simultaneously or almost simultaneously. Sometimes scientists make discoveries without knowing that others did them years ago, writes Robert Merton in his book Sociology of Science. Here are some examples of multiple discoveries. Even non-Euclidean geometry has several informal authors, although the priority, no doubt, belongs to Lobachevsky. Gauss did not publish his pioneering studies on non-Euclidean geometry, although in 1792 he realized that non-Euclidean geometry is possible, and informed his friend H. K. Schumacher about this in a letter in 1831. The first printed work of Lobachevsky, dedicated to non-Euclidean geometry, was published in 1829 and was called On the Principles of Geometry. In 1839, Louis Daguerre in Paris and Henry Fox Talbot in London independently demonstrated their photographic apparatus invention. In 1840, James Joule and Emile Lenz independently discovered the law, oddly enough, of Joule-Lenz. In 1845 and 1846, the English astronomer John Adams and the Frenchman Urbain Le Verrier independently calculated Neptune's position by data on minor perturbations in the movement of Uranus. The category of simultaneous discoveries is the model of natural selection developed by Charles Darwin and Wallace, who read the reports on the evolution of species in the Linnean Society on July 1, 1858. But Darwin developed the theory of the evolution of species 20 years, whereas Wallace was 1 week. Mr. Bell submitted a request for a patent for the phone 2 hours earlier than Eliza Gray, February 24, 1876. In 1898, M. Curie and G. Schmidt discovered radioactivity in thorium. In 1900, 3 different scientists, Dutch Hugo de Vries, German Karl Correns and Austrian Erich von Tschermak, working independently of each other, stumbled upon an article by Mendel. Each of the 3 scientists conducted their botanical experiments, each independently discovered the laws of Mendel, each before publishing the results of his work, studied the literature and found Mendel's article. Everyone carefully attended to Mendel's work and understood that his work coincides with his conclusions. A striking triple coincidence. Moreover, the same year the English scholar William Bateson also found Mendel's article and soon presented it to the attention of other scientists. By the end of the year, Mendel finally received the recognition, which he deserved in his life. In 1903, the German physicist K. Fayens and F. Soddy independently formulated a displacement rule that characterizes the displacement of an isotope in a periodic system of elements under various radioactive transformations. Alciszewski concluded that the social crises coincide with the maxima of solar activity simultaneously with the ethnographer V. Anuchin, who described this fact in the book Social Law. Axiomatic definitions of natural numbers were given almost simultaneously by P. Dedekind and D. Peano. At present, the recursive axiomatics of a natural number is often called the axiomatics of Peano, although Peano published his system 3 years later than Dedekind. Quantum statistics, Fermi and Dirac, the principles of intracellular signal transmission, Eggleman and M. Rodbelly. Many of the 500 open-hook laws were in parallel discovered by other scientists. An interesting fact is that for the first time oxygen was not isolated by chemists. This was invented by the inventor of the submarine K. Drebel at the beginning of the 17th century. This gas he used for breathing in a boat when immersed in water. But the work of the inventor was classified. Therefore, Drebel's work did not play a big role in the development of chemistry. Oxygen was discovered almost simultaneously, independent of each other, by the great chemists of the 18th century, Swedes Carl Wilhelm Scheele and the Englishman Joseph Priestley. Scheele singled out oxygen a little earlier, but his treatise, On Air and Fire, where there were data on oxygen, was published later than the announcement of the discovery of Priestley. They opened a new gas. That's all. And until the end of their lives, they remained faithful to the theory of phlogiston, which at the end of the 18th century became a breakthrough in the development of science. The chemical element boron was in 1956, the method of electronic counting of blood cells by the impedance method was presented by Swede Erik Olin and American Wallace Coulter, independently of each other. In 1988, Albert Firth and Peter Grunberg independently discovered a new phenomenon of superstrong magnetoresistive effect (GMR), for which they received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2007. In 1993, together, Roberts and Sharp received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for the discovery of the intermittent structure of the gene, independently of each other. On June 17, 2006, the journal Nature published articles by two groups of researchers working independently of each other, in which it was reported that scientists had learned to teleport atoms. Scientists offer various explanations for this fact. Édouard Leroy, the French philosopher Vladimir Ivanovich Vernadsky, the Russian thinker Teilhard de Chardin, the French philosopher and theologian, introduced into science such a notion as the noosphere. The noosphere as the sphere of the mind, the thinking shell, formed by human consciousness. This is the world of ideas that is led by the Creator. In other words, around the earth there is a special shell, the shell of the mind, which unites the mind of all people. We are all energetically united and interconnected through our thought. This once again proves the possibility of accepting the same idea by different people. After all ideas can be carried inside the noosphere, and different people can accept it. Despite the various explanations for this phenomenon, one thing remains clear. 1. If you do not work on your idea or dream, someone else will. For the responsibility of the accomplishment of the dream belongs both to the person who worked on it and the one who refused to for some reason. 2. Irrespective of the number of people who receives the same dream or idea, they are all capable of accomplishing it out with equal success. The decisive role is played by the presence of the dream, not by the availability of resources. As stated above, heaven does not scatter its treasures, ideas and dreams haphazardly. When a thought, an idea is sent down from above, it is born in the minds of several people. After all, ideas are energy. Many scientists have been engaged in the study of this issue and have concluded that an idea is nothing but the subtlest form of energy that is contained in the surrounding space. Man can accumulate this energy in himself, which means he can receive ideas from the surrounding space. If a thought, an idea is an energy, then according to the law of conservation and transformation of energy, an idea either remains in the energy space or is transformed into something else. The law of conservation and transformation of energy says that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another, while its value is preserved. The idea or dream that is born in the human mind, like energy, cannot disappear into thin air. It must be embodied in a tangible, physical object. Why should an idea turn into something tangible? Heaven, or, in another way, the higher dimension, communicates to the earth in the form of thoughts, ideas, and dreams. In this way, it transmits information to the earth. All that is invisible and immaterial does not make any sense to the material world until it is transformed into visible, material that one can touch, smell, taste and see with physical senses. Therefore, the energy of ideas must turn into something that is tangible in the material world. Let's look at an example. An artist came to the idea of drawing a picture of an unprecedented beauty. This is his dream. He sees with his inner eye what it should be, and he already sees the final result, the theme of the picture, the shades of colors, important strokes, etc. For now, the artist's dream is only an idea, a thought. No one sees it, it is invisible and therefore not interesting to anyone. It does not do any good to others, because it does not exist in the real world. Only when the artist works and embodies the idea into real life will it become tangible in the material world and will acquire significance. the whole world will be able to see and enjoy its beauty. So, if one person, having received an idea, does nothing with it, then another person will take it. If the second person fails, then comes the third, then the fourth. In the end, the dream will have to find itself on earth in a material embodiment. Let us return to the main theme of the chapter. If an idea, a thought comes to your mind, it is achievable. Every dream and idea from heaven has the potential for accomplishment. And it will be accomplished, since this invisible idea is sown in the minds of many people to guarantee its conversion here on earth into a material object. If you don't, another person will do it, even if it happens on another continent, but the glory and recognition will go to the person who will take responsibility for this dream. Of course, nothing will work without effort. It is necessary to make efforts to find money for an invisible idea and turn it into reality, but this topic will be considered in another chapter. 1. Every dream or idea has the potential to be accomplished. 2. A dream or idea does not come only to one person. 3. If the dream, idea, thought had no future here on earth, then this dream, idea, thought would not come to your mind. 4. The ability to dream, to see with the mind's eye the desired result, is the ability to create and produce. 5. All the invisible and immaterial substance does not make any sense in the material world until it is transformed into a visible material. Self-assessment test. The following test will help you determine your understanding of the feasibility of any dream. It will help you find some errors in your mindset that you need to correct. When answering a question, choose only one answer that best describes you. Answer as sincerely as possible. 1. Does every idea or dream have the potential to come true, to become a reality? 1. No, there are dreams that cannot be accomplished. 1. 2. Yes, any idea that comes to mind can be accomplished. 3. 3. It all depends on the person. If he does something in the direction of the dream, it will come true. 2. 2. Can the same dream or idea come to mind to different people? Or is restricted to one person? 1. Yes, the same dream or idea can come to the mind of different people. 3. 2. No. Same dream or idea cannot come to different people. 1. 3. Choose a statement that you agree with. 1. The dream is the outcome of human imagination. It can come true, and it can remain a dream. 1. 2. A dream is an image of the future, but it may not be realized. 2. 3. A dream has its source from heaven and comes to a person because it is 100% accomplishable. 3. Results of the test. 9 points. You perfectly understand the principles of dreams and ideas. You are not deceiving yourself, knowing that any dream that comes to us can be accomplished. You accept responsibility to work on your dream and achieve results. 4 to 8 points. You partially agree with the fact that dreams come to us from above. But at the same time, you think that not all of them are feasible, or not everyone is given to be accomplished. This is a mistake in your thinking. A deep study of this book will help you correct it. 3 points. You belong to those people who do not consider a dream something important and special, which means that you do not consider it extremely important to accomplish it. You lose a lot not knowing the principles of a dream. Study them and start practicing them. Practical tasks. 1. Explain why every dream can be accomplished. 2. Why does an idea never come to just one person, but many others get it? 3. Remember the case from your life when someone else implemented your idea, or you learned that it is not new and that someone has already done it. Chapter 5. If you have a vision, then the resources are already available somewhere. Dear reader, in this chapter we will get one more important step in the direction of the theme of the book. If you have a vision, then resources are already available somewhere for its accomplishment. This is confirmed by Tadao Yamaguchi, Japanese teacher, lecturer, publicist. The problem always appears with the solution. The challenge is trying not to see only the problem. A true life story. It was a warm evening. Mary held the infant in her arms, singing a lullaby softly to him. Mary's husband, Joseph, laid out the bedspreads on the floor, preparing a place for sleep. He replayed again in his head the amazing events of the birth of his firstborn, Jesus. When the angel appeared, Joseph was speechless. The angel told Joseph not to be afraid to marry Mary, although she was pregnant, and as she claimed, from the Holy Spirit. Of course, the words of the angel convinced him, and then he really understood that this child would be a great man, and he was given the responsibility to educate him. There was a noise outside the door. Who could it be at such a late time, thought Joseph. He went to the door and looked out. What Joseph saw was so surprising that Mary asked, "What's there?" He could not give an immediate answer. He saw camels, adorned with motley cloaks, on which the people who were on them were seated in even more amazing robes. Such clothes in Israel were rarely worn. Bethlehem residents crowded around, attracted by the unusual procession, and this procession was directed to their house. Joseph was right. A few minutes later 3 men entered the door in the magnificent turbans on their heads. Joseph knew that they were worn in the East. One of the men bowed respectfully and began to explain who they were and where they had come from. As it turned out, they were wise men from the East. They were also called Magi, who know the secrets of the sky. They followed the bright star that appeared in the sky as a sign of the birth of the king, whom the world had never seen before. Their journey was long, but they came with a goal. With them came servants waiting on the street. After a short explanation, the sages, wise men, approached the baby lying in Mary's arms and bowed. They offered gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, gifts that were offered exclusively to royalty. Thus they recognized the infant as the future great king of all times. The sages did not linger, they had to return to their country. When the procession left their street, Joseph and Mary looked at each other in complete silence. Each of them was so stunned that for the first minutes they did not say anything. Wise men, camels, gifts. It was more than they could imagine. At midnight, Joseph and Mary discussed this event. They were once again convinced that the child Jesus, whom God entrusted to them, will be a special person and his destiny will be special. They hid the gifts, which were considered extremely expensive at that time, in a safe place. They had not yet decided what to do with them. But they will be useful to us, thought Joseph, concluding all that had happened. He foresaw with an inner feeling that all this was not for nothing. That night, when they finally went to bed, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream. Take the baby and Mary, and flee to Egypt, because they want to destroy him. Save yourself. This night you must leave, the angel said clearly and convincingly. Joseph immediately woke up and woke Mary up, giving her the message of the angel. We need to escape. Angels do not just appear. When they left Bethlehem, Marie, riding on a donkey, Joseph, on foot, the head of the family, suddenly realized the gifts of the Magi were very useful. They hurriedly left their country without having enough money in their pockets to find decent housing in Egypt and live there. The only clothes that they took with them were what they had on them, and they did not have time to cook even food for the journey. They did not know how long they will be in Egypt. But gold, frankincense, and myrrh in Egypt were also very valuable. They can live in a foreign country without suffering. How wise the wise men came in time, thought Joseph. Thanks be to God for timely help. This peculiar interpretation of the history of the worship of the Magi to the child Jesus was written by the discovery made by the Doctor of Theological Sciences, lecturer, and consultant to government agencies Miles Monroe. This story, described in the Holy Scriptures, see Matthew chapter 2 verses 12 to 15, contains a profound meaning. In his lectures, Dr. Miles Monroe often gives an example of this story and says, if you have a purpose in life, or if you have a goal and a dream, everything necessary for its accomplishment already exists. Your camels with gifts are already on the way. You will agree with me that this was what happened in the story with Joseph and Mary. Imagine a young family with an infant in their arms had to flee in the middle of the night to another country. Not having time to collect their belongings, sell a property, collect money, and move to Egypt. And, oh, what an unbelievable parallel. They did not leave empty-handed. The gifts of the Magi were a guarantee that they would not starve to death in a foreign country. They could find shelter and take care of the baby. An unbelievable parallel. A happy coincidence, you will say. Maybe so, but similar occurrences are not accidental and not uncommon. Any person who has achieved success will tell you this. If you made a decision not to grieve over what you lack but act in an attempt to solve the problems that have arisen, you probably, for no reason at all, by good fortune, will find the solutions. Suddenly a longtime acquaintance will call, who will arrange his relations and help you. Or maybe you accidentally get acquainted in the trolley bus with a man who also dreams of opening a beauty salon, and your joint resources will make your dream a reality. Or you suddenly find out that your father's friend works in real estate and can tell you where to rent a cheap office space that you have been searching for so long and unsuccessfully. Often it is just such an coincidence that makes it possible to get the money for your dream. This phenomenon finds its explanation in the works of Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist who described the principle of synchronism. One of the types of synchronicity is the coincidence of internal meanings, thoughts or feelings, with external events. He explains why, when you are looking for answers, they come to you from unexpected directions. For example, when you are busy solving a problem, the tooltip suddenly appears on the page of a book, accidentally caught in your hands, in the advertisement on the store, or in the announcement in your mailbox. Or do you remember a person and hear information about him appeared in your mind? Or, you thought about someone, looking at the phone, and there was a call, and a clue you needed for something you saw in the advertisement on the bus passing by. The principle of synchronicity proves once again that all people are connected by one mental space, and events are the answer to our thoughts. So do not sit idly. Look for solutions, ask mental questions. Where can I find money for my dream? Who can help me? Then the heavens will respond and answer the solution to your problems. Henry David Thoreau, an American writer and thinker, said, "If you confidently move in the direction of your dream and make an effort to live the life you dream about, you will certainly meet luck, unexpected in the usual time." He is echoed by Richard Bach, an American writer, philosopher, and publicist. As long as we believe in our dream, nothing is accidental. Finding resources. If you have a vision, then the resources are already available somewhere, they only need to be found. Example, the artist came up with the idea to draw a great picture. He knows exactly what colors he needs, what brushes and what quality and size canvas he should use. Although the artist knows all the components of his future work, they may not be available to him. First, he will find a canvas, then paint with brushes, and then a frame to frame the picture. If the artist said, "I have nothing to accomplish my idea," he would be wrong. Because everything he needs is somewhere, and he only needs to find it all. Everything around us once started with an idea, a dream, and became a reality only because someone worked and found resources, or components, of this idea and dreams. The outfits on you were also someone's idea. It appeared as soon as the fabrics, threads, sewing machine and seamstress were found. The same principle applies to all kinds of dreams and whatever comes to your mind. As discussed in previous chapters, ideas come to several people, and that's good. Since one will have finance, another has talent, and the third has contacts with the right people. It does not happen that all the resources necessary for an idea come to one person. If you have an idea, the resources are already available somewhere, they simply need to be assembled into one, and you need to search for them. Imagine if all the resources are in the same hands, and these hands are lazy, then the goal will not be fulfilled. So, resources for the realization of your dreams already exist, they must be found. You will learn how to do this from the following chapters. Now let's consider what types of resources exist, and let us consider each of them in more detail. I am my most important resource. Do not ask the Lord for what's on your shoulder. Ask Him to strengthen your shoulder. Mikhail Bogorodsky, priest of the Russian Orthodox Church. Zig Ziglar, a lecturer and specialist in network marketing, said, "Most people who are defeated on their way to achieving their dreams lack empowerment, not resources." And he's right. In fact, resources don't solve everything, but our attitude. In another way, Zig Ziglar's statement can be interpreted as follows: I am the most important resource. If I have nothing to start, I'll think of something I can find and get everything I need. Success depends on my attitude, not on the availability of resources. Therefore, it is so important to sit down and analyze yourself. Gain knowledge of yourself, your talents, abilities, and shortcomings. You can become either a best friend or an evil enemy to yourself. Your temperament can pull you to the bottom and put you in the bandwagon. But if you study the advantages and disadvantages of your temperament, what you need to work on, how you plan to overcome your disadvantages, you will learn how to use it for success, and your weaknesses will be under your control. This once again proves the following statement: even if you have nothing, you can achieve your goal. Why? Because you have you. You are a huge internal resource that can overcome the shortage of any external resource, money, knowledge, experience, etc. Agree that your desire to achieve your dream, your thirst for a new life, your life experiences, abilities, and talents are all resources. You are a huge resource, that is, an unrealized internal force. And no one knows what you will achieve if you decide to release this inner power. So, you can see that to achieve a dream you need to concentrate on your internal resource, as there are a lot of them. The former British Prime Minister in 1979 to 1990, Margaret Thatcher, also confirmed that the internal resources of a person are crucial and can overcome the shortage of any other external resource. The wealth of the country is not necessarily built on its natural resources, it is achievable even in their complete absence. The most important resource is a person. A nation only needs to create a platform for the flowering of the talent of its people. According to folk wisdom, he who desires does more than the one who can. Your desire, passion for the dream will overcome all impossibility and help you find money for your dreams. So if you have only yourself to achieve a dream, that's enough. In this case, one man in the field is a warrior. Do not underestimate your strength, do not look down on the power of one. Never think that you cannot do anything by yourself. One person can change history. The one who made a decision and took responsibility. Look at the history of the world. One person always went to the arena and solved some problem. You cannot be passive. The world revolves around those who act. Your action has an effect. There is power in one person, in one decision, in one voice. One is the strongest figure. Without one, there won't be two. Without one, there won't be a million. There is value in one. One never remains alone. One multiplies. One who has made the right decisions and has begun to act becomes the majority. One person can change everything for the better. One who started moving forward is better than a million inactive people. Never underestimate your strength. Your voice is powerful. Your decision is valid. Your actions are valid. You can change history. Perhaps your one step forward will solve some kind of problem in your environment, and maybe all over the world. Conversely, underestimating yourself can lead to the loss of another hero, who should have been a solution for many people. For this, you do not need to be the smartest, the richest, and the most beautiful. You are a special person. You are blessed. Internal resources. Let's take a closer look at the internal resources of man. These are the primary resources and therefore the most important. Further information will help you analyze yourself, finding out your strengths and weaknesses. 1. Self-esteem. As someone said, all our dreams are in the grip of self-esteem. Self-esteem is a person's idea of the importance of his activity in society and evaluation of himself, his own qualities and feelings, advantages and disadvantages. Or, in another way, self-esteem is self-awareness. Self-awareness is not only the knowledge of oneself but also a certain relation to oneself, to one's qualities and states, possibilities, physical and spiritual forces, that is self-esteem. Man is a self-evaluating being. People can evaluate themselves, their actions and inactions. Without healthy self-esteem, it is difficult and even impossible to have a good self-evaluation in life. True self-esteem presupposes a critical attitude towards oneself, a constant test of one's abilities to meet life's demands, the ability to set independently achievable goals. strictly evaluating the course of one's thoughts and their results, checking carefully the hypotheses put forward, thinking carefully about all the pros and cons, and abandon the unjustified hypotheses and versions. True self-esteem supports human dignity and gives moral satisfaction. Adequate or inadequate attitude towards oneself leads either to the harmony of the spirit, providing reasonable self-confidence, or constant conflict, sometimes leading a person to a neurotic state. Self-evaluation is formed on the basis of evaluations of oneself, evaluating the results of one's own activity, and also from the correlation between real and ideal ideas about oneself. Our mistake is that we evaluate ourselves, trying to see ourselves just like others by the assessments of others. If your self-perception depends only on the opinions of others, then you allow others to dictate to you who you are. You should form your own opinion about yourself. You can consider and respect the opinions of others, but do not put them above your own. How can you form an adequate opinion of yourself? How can you assess yourself unbiasedly? In solving these issues, your analysis will help you determine 1. Your temperament, 2. Your character, 3. Your talents and abilities. The maximum adequate attitude to yourself is the highest level of self-esteem. A.G. Spurkin. 1. Temperament. Temperament is something that cannot be changed. People are mistaken if they think that temperament and character are the same. Temperament is inborn, and the character is developed. Temperament is the main property of a person. It is considered the most stable characteristic of a person's personality, which almost does not change during life and is manifested in all spheres of life. The Soviet scientist I.P. Pavlov defined 4 basic types of temperament. 1. Strong, balanced, mobile type, sanguine person. 2. Strong, balanced, inert type, phlegmatic. 3. Strong, unbalanced, agile type, choleric. 4. Weak, unbalanced, sedentary type, melancholic. Carefully study them and find them. Lyudmila was a middle-aged woman who had been doing her small business for quite some time, selling things in the market, and everything was going smoothly. But Lyudmila, oddly enough, was concerned with a very unusual question. Every day in the market, she had to watch homeless beggars scavenging in garbage cans, old people collecting bottles, handing them over at the reception point. She often saw the same old woman asking for money with a box in her hands, and homeless children begging for money for a piece of bread. Lyudmila felt sorry for these people. How can I help them? Where can I get money to feed all these hungry beggars? She understood that life could be very difficult for these